It's time for war. Prepare for heart-pounding battles. The stakes are high with no room for mistakes. The path is brutal, the defenders are ruthless, but the team is ready. Every node, every fight, every second counts. This is Alliance War Season 62. Welcome back in. It is war number 6 on the season, and this fight right here was probably one of my biggest concerns. This one and the Node 31 that's coming up later, and it's really because I couldn't come up with a great counter for the node. I came up with a great counter for the champion, but neither of them really do much for the node. So here we're going to be using Vox, and the plan is to just take it slow. I want to bait out specials. I don't want to try and dex the special. We're just going to take it all in a block. And, you know, Solvarch right there was very, very nice to us. He did that. So we're going to throw a special 1. Now we've got 15 of the degens on there, and the plan is to let them tick for, you know, as long as I can, and then we'll throw another special 1, and then we will recapture them. There, I was not ready for the reverse controls on the heavy, so I did throw a striker in there. We recaptured the degens, so you can see our buff number went up dramatically. Here, we just want him to throw a special. We want you to throw a special, and there we go. He throws that special. Like I said, we're taking it all in the block. We're not going to try and dex anything. We're going to be smart. We're going to be safe. And at this point, we're going to drop about 28 degens on them. I don't know if that's going to be enough, really, at this point. So we're just kind of backing away, playing it slow. We're going to get back over a bar of power in case we need to recapture those. Of course, he throws a special right then, so we can't. But they did take him down to 4%, so I figure a little combo here into a striker. Hey, you know what? That didn't quite finish him off, so let's throw a special. Still didn't finish him off. I don't know how tanky he gets at the end of his life, but he finally dies to the degen there, and we get to move on to the second fight. You know, relatively good shape, all things considered. And for that second fight up here, we've got this little spider ham. This is Moleman food. We fight this a little bit differently. We don't do the typical parry heavy, let him hit in the block. We saved that for later. I don't want to give little spider ham here any chance to evade. So I try to keep my charges low. I try to throw special 1s right away. You know, I'm not in any danger in this fight, probably either way. But I'd much rather play safe and, you know, stay topped up. You know, it's been a lot of potion use this season, so if I can get through a fight, you know, fairly clean, I'm going to do it. You can see there, we let him hit into our block. We're 100% health, and that pig's down pretty darn quick. Moving into Section 2, we had this Thanos here. This is the first time I've ever faced a Deathless Thanos on this node, so couldn't fit a Mystic into the team, so I figured, what the heck, you know, Moleman's going to do just fine. You know, it's going to be a little bit on the slow side because of Thanos' protection here. There, we get caught by the end of the special 1. Not a big deal. I'm planning on healing up some as we go. You can see we're getting a lot of willpower healing there and almost back up to a full yellow bar, so I'm all good with it. You know, no problems at all if I get clipped there a little bit. Then now it's just going to be baiting special 1s, countering special 1s, keeping an eye on the hit counter, and just kind of doing what I can. Here we throw a special 2. It did nothing. You know, the protection was up. Really did absolutely nothing. So not the end of the world. You know, we've got the frenzy on there. We're just going to keep knocking them down. The heavies do, you know, a good amount of damage, and the other nice part about it is it gives them a lot of power. So I'm just having to bait specials. I'm not having to worry about parries too much, things like that. It just makes the fight that much easier. There, I could have probably countered, but figured, you know what, let's keep in frenzy. Let's keep those heavy charges up. Let's try to get him under 25%. Let that protection wear off, and then we'll drop a big special too. That's kind of my plan at this point. Here we can see we get him 25%. Protection comes up, protection's off now. Now all we need to do is have him throw a special, just in case it didn't kill. I didn't want to give him anything left. Now we drop our special 2, and well, That takes care of the big old Deathless Thanos there, and we move on to the next fight. And now, like I said, this was the other fight that I was worried about. I'm going to be using Vox here. A couple things going through my mind as I sat there and thought about this fight. One, don't do a medium ending combo when he gets above 5 armors. And two, don't let anything on the special one hit you. If you get clipped by anything on the special one, he's going to get 3 debuffs and he's going to be unblockable pretty much the entire fight. So nice clean decks there. We're only going to be baiting special ones. We're not going to push him to special twos. And here, we're doing exactly what I wanted. We've got a lot of degens on there. We've got what we need. And right there was the mistake of the fight. I let the special one clip me. You can see I got 3 debuffs on me. He is now going to be unblockable the rest of the fight. And then, to make matters worse, I do a medium ending combo. I just needed to do 4 lights and throw my special one, and I would have recaptured all those buffs. Just not a very good play there. So here, I'm just taking some time. I'm letting, hitting into the block, trying to think through what I'm going to do, how I'm going to kind of get through the rest of this fight. And he's not wanting to, give me a heavy attack, a nice easy opening. So, we're going to throw the striker out there. That's fine. We're going to get a good clean dex on the special. Here, we just need an opening, and there was supposed to be medium light. It ended up being medium, and well, we get stunned, he gets a hit on us, and we are down to 25% health. My health is ticking down. You can see I'm losing 179. There, I throw the special with the power sting on, and well, we're down to 10%. Here, I'm just trying to figure out, is that degen going to be enough? I really just want to hit into his block. I just want to hit into his block. And of course, when I want to hit into his block, I end up getting intercepts. So go figure. He's down to 11%. I figure at this point, maybe if I get lucky, I'm down to 6%. Maybe if I get lucky, I can get one more special one off. If I can get one more special one off, I can finish it. And I miss the dex on the special one, and that finishes me. So a stupid death there. Should never have gotten hit, into my block on that first or second special one that he threw. That kind of threw off the fight. And then I couldn't find a good way and a good opening. And then when I did a stupid medium, got stunned, and that really did end the fight. So here we just throw on a revive. I'm not in any worry about the very beginning part of this fight. He's only got 6% health left, whatever it was, 8% when I come in. So I figure one special one's going to take care of it. We've got the degen on there. It's not ticking for a whole lot, but it was ticking for enough to finish him off. Moving up to the minis, we've got the first one here on 37, and this is going to be Rintrah. When I originally saw this path, I was like, you know what? I'm going to use Ironheart. Ironheart works great. I got here and I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood for some just pure Moleman smash. So we're going to use Moleman here, and it's Rintrah. He's a big old chunky lad, and here I kind of forgot. You hit into Rintrah, you get some ruptures on you. Not the end of the world. Decent placement for Rintrah on this node, just because of the root. You get rooted, you get ruptures. He gets rooted, you get ruptures. Really, the only thing you can do is not hit into him. And well, I was going for a smash. I just wanted to take my frustrations of the last fight out on this cow, and unfortunately, it's a little slow. We do decent damage, but it didn't cure my bloodlust, so to speak, after the last fight. And here we get rooted, which is fine. We're just going to parry, and then we're going to drop a special 2 to get out of that root, which is nice. Does a good chunk of damage. The bleeds, a little bit underrated on Moleman for his bleed damage. They don't last very long, but they do decent damage while they're going. And now all we're going for here is to finish this fight. We're going to let him throw his special. And now it is time for the ending combo. We drop a 5-hit combo into a special 2 and some nice big old yellow numbers to take down Rintrah, and stayed pretty healthy. I'm very happy with that. And because we jumped in early, we still have the capability of doing this middle node on the left island here. It's my favorite node to use Ironheart for because she is so good for this node. There, I was like, I couldn't remember if she was Incinerate immune or not. It would only make sense that she was Incinerate immune. She's not, but it would make sense if she was. So I threw on Ruptures just to make sure. And, really the plan here is to just kind of go in, get my 5 Ruptures on, and, not really worry too much. There, I went in a little bit too early. Not the end of the world. There, we get rooted. We can get another hit in. We're at 5 Ruptures finally. So now we can parry her without any problem. And we're just going to drop a special 1. And if she doesn't throw a special this whole fight, I'm fine with that. We're in good shape. I don't think she's going to get to a special 3 no matter what I do. She's going to die before then. So here we're just doing 5-hit combos. We're getting a lot of good damage in. We drop a special. We have 15 of our Ruptures on there. She's dropping pretty fast. There she comes in and hits me with a walk-up light. Love it. Right at the end of the fight, just to require me to top up a little bit of health so that I can use Ironheart again. For this fight here, I could have taken the Void, and that was originally what I was going to do. I was going to take the Void on Poison Rupture. But I decided, you know what? Let's try our luck with Spider-Woman. We've got Moleman. If I play this right, I can take her. I threw on a Power Start 1. I'm not sure why it didn't trigger. Maybe somebody in the comments below can tell me why for a future time, but it didn't. So fortunately, we get her to a special 2. Her stupid Unstoppable came much quicker than I thought it was going to, which is fine. There, we're going to go right into a Striker. We're going to drop our special 2. See if we can finish her off right here. Doesn't quite, and of course the Unstoppable comes back right at the last hit of that. So she counters into my block. Now, she's at her special 2, and you know what? We're just going to throw ours because it's unblockable. I don't care. She's dead. We move on. The downside to using Moleman on those hazard chip nodes is no matter what I do, I end up having to drop a bunch of heals in. So we drop some heals in, and we're going to take on this high evolutionary here. Plan here is to alternate. We're going to do parry heavy, and then parry medium, light, medium, parry heavy, so forth, so on, just to kind of make sure, A, we're knocking high evolutionary down as often as possible. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to bait special 1s. There, we get a nice little medium. There, of course, we got the auto block, not the end of the world. There, he auto blocks us again. You know what? Just let me drop a special 2, dagnabbit, and there we go. So we get some good damage there. High evolutionary's a little chunky lad, so it doesn't take him down, but he is at half health. And now we're just going to go back to what we said we were going to do. Alternate the combos: medium, light, medium, parry heavy. Here, he throws his special. We're okay. We're going to go in. We're going to medium, light, medium. We're going to go into a Striker, and then we're going to medium, light, just because we could. We're going to drop another special 2, and, well, high evolutionary's dead, and I'm very happy with that fight. Next up, we got the Zola here, and honestly, I think Vox could do it with a Power Start 1, but Ironheart is meant for this fight and this node, as long as the champion is not immune to incinerates, which Zola here isn't. All we need to do here at the start is get a good clean dex. We get our 2 incinerates on there. We're now up to 4 after a medium, light, medium. We just need 1 more, and then we can parry this guy. So there we go. Now we can parry him. Here, we're going to go ahead and do a 5-hit combo, because what the plan is, we're going to come in and counter. We're going to do a couple more hits. Now we want to parry. Unfortunately, the node is down. I'm trying to get the dex there to get another incinerate on to turn off the node, and well, it just wasn't working. So we do have to hit into him. Now we can get to parry. Now we can knock him down. Unfortunately, the other side effect of that is it did push us up to a special 2. The other thing is he was getting close to his special 2. Want to bait special 1s. What I should have done, since I ended up getting pushed to a special 3 anyway, is just kind of push him, drop my special 3. Nice thing on Ironheart special 3 is it does do a power drain, so it did drain his power. Here now, we just want to knock him down again, take him back down to 0 charges. Don't want to get put to sleep on this. That's really the only real danger. And the other danger in this is the brute force of him not being very aggressive and not wanting to throw a special. So here we do end up pushing him to a special 2. No big deal. We get a little disintegrate buff or debuff on us. There we get hit, just kind of bad, but you can see, not really too worried about getting hit by him. He doesn't do a whole lot of damage. The brute force does more damage to me than he does. So here we're just, making sure that the stun reflect was down. We're going to throw a special one. Not the fastest fight in the world. Honestly, a little slow. Probably could do this fight faster, but I am just trying to be safe. I've died once, didn't really like that too much. Shouldn't have died in the first place on that fight. So here we're gonna take it slow. There, we're gonna counter when we kind of got close to being put to sleep. Here now, of course, you see I am at a special 3 again. I'm just gonna do 5 hits. We're gonna drop that special 3. Don't think the special 3 is going to kill him. I mean, he's only at 6%, but Zola is Zola. Now we just need to get a couple more hits, and then we're going to let the Incinerates finish him off. And now it's time to move on to the boss. We've got this nice little 1.2 million health Yelena Belova boss. And I've wanted to do this fight for a while, and this is just my little rank 3 Vox against Yelena. I've done this fight in Battlegrounds and things like that. Here, we're just kind of playing. We're just stalling a little bit. If she throws a heavy, great. I was waiting until the stun immunity wore off so I could get, just some easy openings. I know I'm going to take some chip damage there at the beginning, and that's not a very big concern of mine because she does place debuffs on us from time to time, so I'll get a little willpower healing. Here, we want to bait special ones, and my plan is just to keep stacking my degens on her. So you can see there, we got 25. Now we're going to let that tick for a little while. We're going to let her throw her special 1, and I want to kind of just pause. I want to let that do as much damage as humanly possible and only recapture it at the very end, and I did an incredible job right there. I caught it right at the last tick, which is kind of what I want to do. Now you can see how many buffs I've got up. We're going to do the same thing again. Medium, light, medium combos. We're going to keep building those buffs up until we can drop, some big old degen numbers on her and let that do all the work in this fight. This is a slow fight. I know it's not going to break any speed records. There are probably other champions that could do this a little bit better, but you know what? Vox is fun. And here, she didn't want to throw a special one, so we just danced for a while. We're not in any rush. Now we can do a nice little combo here, and we're going to throw our special one, and look at this. We've got 52 degens on there. Now watch those ticks start adding up. There's 8K, 9K, 10K, 11, 12, 15, 16, 18, 23, 24, 26. A little bit quick there. Probably could have done one more hit, but just the amount of damage there that did. Now I'm feeling comfortable. I'm feeling confident. All I need to do is get to a special 1. I don't care how many hits she has on her counter. All I have to do is throw this. I'm pretty comfortable saying 53 degens on her is going to end up killing her. So we're just going to kind of sit back now. We're going to kind of, we're going to hit in the block, and you can see, there's 21K, 26K, 28K tick there on the last little bit of it, and well, Yelena died, and that was a very easy takedown of a big Yelena Belova. And with that, that wraps up war number 6, and we are officially halfway through the season. I stand at 57 kills, 4 of which were bosses, and 3 deaths. While I wish I was deathless, with the number of fights I've taken so far, 3 isn't too bad. I do hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, and until the next one, take care all.